Hello and welcome. This is the first Friday in December, and this is a very important day for me. I have had my YouTube channel for about 9 years, and the first video I posted, I was in a transition from doing mentalism to making speeches, to doing speeches about history, doing speeches about the paranormal, something I was very interested in. So many of the clients that I had done mentalism for, I asked them if they might be interested in a speech presentation with no magic, and they said yes. So I came in, I did a number of things, and I was in an effort to promote what I was doing. I made videos, I posted them, and that's how my YouTube channel got started. That was about 9 years ago. Then, about 8 years ago, 7 years ago, even 6 years ago, I went back and I dug out some old footage from 1998, 1996, the 1990s, when I did a lot of Grand Illusion, and I started to post. So I went back and posted Grand Illusion videos, and I enjoyed doing that. But it wasn't systematic. I would post a video, and then I wouldn't post a video, and then I did, and then last year, actually 2 years ago, well, a year and a half ago, I decided that I wanted to do regular postings, and let me tell you why. I'm not sure I ever made that clear. Let me be perfectly candid with you. My mother passed away in 2015. When somebody you love passes away, I think it's natural to step back and ask yourself, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Does it have meaning? Does it have purpose? And then my mother passed in 2015. My father had begun to show signs of dementia and Alzheimer's in 2015. And this was fairly mild in 2015. We thought it was bad at the time, but nothing like it became. So he would be out driving, and he would forget where he was. And so he'd call me, or he'd call my mother, or he'd call one of my nieces, and he'd say, I don't know where I am. And they would give him directions to get home. And he would be forgetful. This was, we were kind of like, okay, it's fine. But then it got progressively worse. Now I was going over to the house on Friday evening from work. I'd leave work, I'd drive over to my father's house, I would balance his checkbook, I would pay his bills. We would go out and we would do grocery shopping. I would take him to dinner. And for a while, I mean, we're talking about 2015, 2016. For a while, that was pretty good. I mean, that was working. I remember one day in particular, we were at a restaurant. And I got up to leave the restaurant. And he tried to follow me, but I guess I walked a little bit fast. I got out of the restaurant, I turn around, and he's not there. So I go back into the restaurant, and he has this look of terror on his face. He's totally lost and totally bewildered. And when he sees me, his eyes light up, his face lights up, and he's so glad. And I lead him out of the restaurant, and at that moment I knew it's a problem. So I work, I'm out of the house 12 hours a day. I mean, not necessarily 12 hours, but a good long time. You're leaving at 8 in the morning, you're not getting home till 6 or 7 at night. It's a good long time. My wife's out of the house too, so it's not like we can bring him in here and he'd be any better. When somebody has dementia, it's dangerous. You know, they need companionship. And so I took him around to various places to try to find a place that was appropriate for him. And at the time, he was he was coherent enough to say to me, I don't want to be here. This is not what I want to do. So I was determined that he would age in place to the extent that it was possible for him to do so. Because it was a quality of life issue, I wanted him to be able to age in place. So I kept him in his home, the home that he purchased, our family home, in 1970. He purchased this home. This is 1999 now. So he lived there for many, many years, and I wanted him to stay there. But what I said to him was, I remember we're having dinner together, and we're talking about various opportunities that he does have, that he had at the time, to receive help, to be in a place where he was going to be properly cared for and looked after. And he says, I just don't want to do that. And I said, well, here's the thing, Dad. I said, if you begin to wander, I'm going to need to take action. Well, I got a call. This is the sequence of events. I get a call at 3 o'clock in the morning from a neighbor. Fortunately, I grew up in this neighborhood. Everybody knows me. Everybody has my number. And everybody knows my dad. So it's that kind of a neighborhood. So I get a call at 3 o'clock in the morning. And it was cold. I don't know if it was February or March, but it was cold. And this neighbor says, I got your father here. He claims that he went to the pharmacy to get his meds, 3 o'clock in the morning. So I drive over, and I get my dad, and I said, what were you doing? And he says, I went to get my medication. I said, Dad, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. And then he looks at me and he says, are we going out to dinner? I had had some help coming in. I had some people coming in during the day. And I called this person, not at 3 o'clock in the morning, but I put Dad to bed. I made sure he was safe. I called and I said, I'm going to need awake overnight support. So I started having people coming in. Almost 24/7. Not quite, but almost. And he was out walking with one of his caregivers, and he had a stroke. And the stroke accelerated everything. So I went down to the hospital, and the doctors told me he cannot go home. They had him on 24-hour watch. They had somebody sitting outside of his door because he didn't know he was in a hospital. I remember visiting him, and he'd say to me, let me walk you to the door. Or I need to walk the dogs. Or don't forget to visit your mother down the hall. So, fortunately, I had, by the way, there are brokers, there are consultants that will help you find the most appropriate place. And I had one of those people out working for me, looking for a place. And the place I wanted didn't have a vacancy, but we moved him into another place that did. And then we eventually moved him to the place where he is today, which is only maybe 2-3 miles away from me right now. So I'm able to look in on him on a regular basis. So you might be wondering, why am I telling you this? Well, the reason I'm telling you this is because here I had my mother's passing. My father has dementia or Alzheimer's to the extent that he still has facial recognition. So when he sees me, he knows who I am, but that's all he knows. He doesn't know what year it is. He doesn't know where he is. He has a wonderful disposition that we are so blessed that he does, because many in his situation find it extremely frustrating and they become angry, but not him. So with this happening in the last 5 years, last 4 years for me, it's caused me to reevaluate. It's caused me to ask myself some serious questions. And I decided that one of the things, I've decided a great many things, but one of the things that I decided was that I've been doing magic for 50 years. Granted, I have not been a full-time professional And in the magic business, that is pedigree. There's the implication that if you're not a full-time working professional, then your skill is somehow not as great as someone who is. I don't really buy into that. I mean, you got Gene Anderson, for example, who invented magic that almost every full-time professional has used. I could go on. The list is quite lengthy of people who did not make their living from magic, but who nevertheless contributed a great deal to the art form. So I think that's a little bit of a king's clothing type of thing. I do respect, I do admire those who earn their living from the art. I really do. I wish I had, but I hadn't. But I do have 50 years of experience. I have 50 years of doing this, and I've been passionate about it the whole time. So I thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if I just began to share? If I began to give you, anyone who's interested, the benefit of that 50 years of experience. And so on a Friday night, the first Friday night of December of 2018, I posted my first consecutive video, what would be the first of a series of videos. I have posted every Friday night for a year. This, folks, this is my 1 year anniversary. I have posted every single Friday night. And my subscriber list has gone up considerably. What I'm doing for whoever wants to benefit by it. And if it's 2 people, I'm happy. If it's 200, I'm happy. Whoever wants to benefit, God bless you. So, it's been 1 year. It's been 1 year. And I set a few goals, and I've achieved a number of those goals. I tell you where I fell a little bit short. I've done a lot of history, a lot more history than I thought I would do. But, you know, I really see myself as a magic historian. Now, compared to some of the great historians of our time, Mike Caveney, for example, maybe I'm not Johnny Gahn, you know, maybe I'm not holding a candle to these guys. But I certainly love the history of our art. I love looking back to where we come from and where we're going. And I've given you a lot of that. I've given you some tips and pointers on how to get involved in the art. I've given you the benefit of my experience of performing. And I've done interviews. Now, I've only did 2. In 2019, I've only done 2 interviews. And that's a shame. I hope to change that in 2020. I really do. There are so many people that I want to either get into Skype or I want to sit down with them in person and record the conversation. One of the most popular videos that I posted, well, I think the most popular video I posted was on the history of the sawing illusion, sawing in half. But one of the popular videos I posted was the Denny Haney tribute. People resonated with that. They loved it. I posted that. I actually videotaped that on the evening that I learned of his passing. I was devastated. I sat down in front of the camera, and I think that came across on film. And so people resonated with it, especially those who knew him and loved him as I did. But one of the things that I regretted was that I had called him up. And I had called him up and I said, Denny, I'm doing a little YouTube channel. I don't have a whole lot of subscribers, but I would really love to interview you. And he said, oh yeah, man, come on over. Let's do the interview. So I had him agreeing to sit down with me. And I kept thinking, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I'd started making videos in December. And this was, I think, March, right? So look at all that time that I wasted, and then I learned that he passed, and I was like, oh God, you know, I'm never gonna see him again. And it was just, You don't get tomorrow. It's not promised. So there are people that I want to talk to, and you might be one of them. So I want to sit down with you, and I want to get your thoughts. What matters to me in these interviews? I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to say, what got you started? What lights your fire? What keeps your passion burning? What do you want to do? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to be? How do you want to get there? I want to pick your brain for these things, and I want to record it, and I want to make it available to other people so they can learn and grow as well. So I want to do more of that. I love sharing about historical things. I'm going to do a lot of that too. I'm going to share. I'm going to grow my illusion show in the next year. I'm going to share some of that information. I'm going to continue to do mentalism, and I'm going to be finishing a book. This will be my third book. I've written 2 novels, The Mentor's Gift and The Christmas Garden. My first nonfiction book will be published in 2020. Stay tuned for that. I'm going to tell you more about that. And once that is published, I'm going to do a lot more public speaking as opposed to mentalism, as opposed to performing. So I'm trying to broaden my tent a little bit. I think I've done a little bit of that this year, 2019, where I'm not going to do 100% magic. I'm going to bring in some performing artists from outside of the magic camp. I'm going to bring in some speakers, but it all works together, because a successful speaker has done so the same way that you become a successful magician, the same way that you become a successful musician. So it all works together, and I hope that you see that. Anyway, folks, I'm celebrating 1 year of regular posting every Friday night. I hope that you're enjoying this as much as I am, because it has really been a rewarding year for me. I have enjoyed YouTube, posting these videos. I can't think, in terms of my experience in magic, I can't think of anything I've done that I've enjoyed more than this. And you have made it enjoyable because you have given me likes. By the way, YouTube sends you on a monthly basis. They tell you how you're doing. They tell you how many people subscribed in the previous month. They tell you how many likes, how many people were engaged. They give you these statistics. And I've seen that number going up and up and up, which tells me that you must be resonating. You must be receiving something from this, and that is extremely rewarding. So when I see a like down there, I am thrilled. And when you comment, I am thrilled. And you have done that. If you look back through some of my videos, you've commented, you've liked, and you've made this a rewarding experience for me. So I hope in 2020 that I continue to make this a rewarding experience for you. So, folks, please subscribe, please comment. I'd love to hear from you. Have a great day. I will see you next time. God bless.